Hello everyone and welcome back to Two Bros Hot Takes, where we watch a movie and then tell you if you should watch a movie. I'm your movie watching host, Older Bro.
I'm your other movie watching host, Younger Bro.
And today, we return with a dead franchise that continues to try to be undead, despite the fact that it was undead to begin with. Ghostbusters.
Yay, we're in Ghostbusters now. Before we went to the movie, we were debating on whether to see it or not. I'm like, okay, maybe.
Why not? It's Ghostbusters.
It's Ghostbusters. I know it had a little bit of a rocky comeback.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get myself a little bit hyped up for this movie. So I went back and rewatched all the movies, and I even viewed the game for the first time. The only movie I didn't watch was the chick one.
Yeah,
But not because I didn't want to watch it, it's just I actually couldn't. I couldn't find it anywhere. Like, I looked on Hulu, looked on Paramount Plus, and I think the only place I could have watched it is HBO Max, which is the one thing I don't have. I have pretty much all other streaming services. So I would have had to buy it to watch it, and I didn't really want to buy it. So I was like, I remember the movie enough. I don't need to rewatch it. But what I didn't remember were the original ones. So I went back and rewatched all the original ones, and I even watched the playthrough, like I said, of the game as well. So, I even watched Afterlife. Afterlife is it is deserving of the third movie. Like, it would overwrite the game. The game is really good, don't get me wrong. The game is really good. But I think Afterlife is just a bit better. Because, apparently I discovered one of my favorite actors is now in it.
Yeah, now which one is that?
The new chick. The Spangler.
Oh,
granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's now one of my favorite actors. So, she made that movie really, really fucking good. Now, we'll get into spoilers for Frozen Empire, but I'm not going to spoil anything yet. Me talking about her in the movie, she was still great. I still enjoyed her character. I do have some issues with the movie that involve her character, but we'll get into that later. But anyways, so is Frozen Empire worth your time? Yeah, I'd say so. But, I just don't think it was as good as Afterlife. I think, yeah, it's not as good as Afterlife.
Yeah.
No.
I never watched Afterlife. I still have not seen that movie. I have seen the original movie, but it has been years and years and years, and I don't really remember it that much. But the problem is I vaguely mix the first and second movie's plots together, so I'm not exactly sure which one I know the plot of, but I have vaguely seen the first two movies. I did not see Afterlife. So
yeah, if I asked you to see any movie in this franchise, I would ask you.
I would absolutely be interested in seeing Afterlife after this movie, because watching this movie, I absolutely thought that this was a very good movie, that it was worth your time. So one of the things that I mentioned on the way here, because one of the things that's shown in this movie is they talk about the first thing that pops up after the Sony Pictures logo is the Ghost Core logo. And I was like, okay, I'm guessing they made a studio that now manages Ghostbusters, which is sort of not true, but vaguely speaking, it's true. What I didn't know was how old it was. So this company was, in fact, the same company that made the reboot that has been completely struck from existence. It just does not exist. Apparently, Afterlife is supposed to be a sequel to Ghostbusters 1. So they aren't actually considering Ghostbusters 2 to have happened. However, that seems not possible, given that I thought the portal that was opened up when they shut them down was
they
in
talked
the
about
second
it in
movie.
Yeah, they talked about it in this movie.
So I'm just going to say that this is the fourth movie, that the first movie happened, the second movie happened, and then Afterlife happened, which is now the third movie, and this is the fourth movie.
Yeah.
The 2016 one, which isn't even called Ghostbusters, whatever it was. I don't remember what its name was.
It's just Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but whatever that movie was, they don't even call it anything. They just say the 2016 film, and then they just promptly ignore it. So that movie didn't happen. Ignore it for this movie. Afterlife happened before this. This is the sequel to Afterlife, which is the sequel to Ghostbusters 2, which is the sequel to Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah.
So all four of these movies happened. And if Sony wants to say the second movie didn't happen, fuck you. Regardless, I want to say, I still don't think this movie has perfectly gotten why the first Ghostbusters movie was good.
It did better.
Yeah, the second, Ghostbusters 2, very much did not get it. And that's why a lot of people didn't like it. Because, again, the movie,
it was a bit strange, but wasn't bad.
Yeah. Like, there's been plenty of people to try to rewrite that movie to try to make it a lot better. But regardless, the second movie did not really get why the first movie was so popular. Because it wasn't really a family movie.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't consider the second movie.
Because a lot of people didn't like it, probably.
But the thing is, the Statue of Liberty was the second movie. That was not the first film. It was the second movie.
I don't know, man.
So
all I can tell you is that
if they don't consider it canon, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, but regardless, I don't think that this movie still fully understands why the first movie was so good, but I think that this movie understands it way more than many of the other attempts. I don't think that I think it does better job than Ghostbusters 2. I think it does a better job than, well, the female-only movie, because we don't talk about that. It was so bad. I don't know about Afterlife, because I haven't seen it yet. But I would say this movie is not the best movie in terms of it is not a perfect sequel to Ghostbusters. But it is probably about as good as I believe Sony can ever possibly make a sequel to Ghostbusters.
I would say it is better than 2. It is not better than Afterlife, though.
Yeah. I would say that the direction they are on is a good direction. I am happy with this direction. I am excited to see more from this franchise, and I am happy that Ghostbusters is in fact a franchise. I want to see more of these movies. They are cool.
Yes, I would also like to see this franchise continue. Who knows? If we continue, we might get more games. I would like to play some Ghostbuster games.
So for anyone who's trying to keep track of the canon, you watch 1, you watch 2, you go play Ghostbusters the video game, which is the third movie. You then watch Afterlife, which is the actual third movie, and then you watch this movie. And you should do all of that. You absolutely should do all of that.
I would say even playing the game yourself is worth it instead of just watching it.
Yeah, absolutely worth your time. At some point, we will play that game on this channel. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's funny. The second movie was supposed to be a lot about family. And this movie definitely felt about family as well. But it felt better than the second movie did it.
They did family in Afterlife as well. It was all about mainly Spangler and family drama and stuff like that, and they did it perfectly.
Yeah. Are these movies just turning into Vin Diesel's Fast and Furious, where it's all about family, and all these movies are just family is everything?
Family pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, see, that's a joke that I did actually say. I was joking that these movies are like, they don't get that the first one was not a family picture, but I would say they are a family picture if you say a family picture is Fast and the Furious. Because it's a family picture. It's one of those movies where they curse and they smoke and they don't give a shit about the ratings board. And especially the rule of law, as is always the case where they piss off the mayor. They always piss off the mayor. So
they changed the mayor, by the way, but we'll get into that.
I'm pretty sure that I was aware that they changed the mayor. I don't get why this is the mayor, but that's not the point.
I get why.
I know why he is in the movie. I just don't understand why he's the mayor. But that's beside the point. Point is, this is absolutely a great movie. You should go watch it. It may not be as good as the last one, which I have not seen. I cannot judge that. But it is a good movie. You absolutely should go watch it. There is an end credit scene that you should stay and watch. It is good. So wait till after the credits.
Now
not the full credits. The short credits.
We think it's only the short credits.
Yeah.
There was one before that after the full credits.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we did miss something.
Yeah, but there's definitely one at least after the mid-credits.
Mid-credits, yes.
We don't know about the end credits, but mid-credits, absolutely.
Yes. Watch it. It's fucking hilarious.
So, anything else you want to go over quickly before we go into spoilers?
Nope.
Alright, so we're moving into the spoiler section, guys. Go watch this movie. If you're not here for spoilers, you can skip to the end where we do some analysis on the ratings for this movie, or you can just leave now if you think that that's too much spoilers. So, we'll see you later if so.
Okay, so before we talk about the bad stuff, let's talk about the good stuff first.
Yeah.
Let's save the bad stuff for last.
Yeah, so, firstly, I did not realize that the Spangler Kid is a new character. I presumed that she was in Afterlife.
She was in Afterlife.
Okay.
And, yes, she is pretty much now one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, she's very good. Okay, the way you were making it sound, I thought you were saying that she was introduced in this movie and it's not in the previous one. I was like, how is that possible?
But I find it hilarious that she says how old she is, which is not actually how old she is. She is 17 in real life, by the way.
Look, the actress is allowed to have a different age on screen.
I know. Like, they do make her appear a lot younger in the movies, guys, so I can sort of believe it.
Yeah.
So,
actually one of the things that was funny about in this movie, the mayor goes on and on about like all the problems with the Ghostbusters, which he always does in every single one of these damn movies that has the mayor that he's always complaining about.
Here's the thing: in the originals, he wasn't the mayor.
No, in the originals he wasn't. But I'm saying whoever the mayor character is, the mayor character is always complaining about the Ghostbusters. What's weird to me is they made a big deal of like, oh, we'll add child labor to this, but it's like, but Miss Spangler is her mother. She can consent. Like, you're allowed, a child of pretty much any age is allowed to work. At
least for a family business, right?
for family businesses, if their parents consent. However, I could at least understand him saying, this work is so dangerous, children should not ever work in it. That I can understand. But they made a big deal of, like...
But they didn't go into that.
They talked about child endangerment, but they specifically were like, well, we'll add child labor. And it's like, but it's not child labor if she consented, and clearly she did consent, given that she was in the car. So, I don't get why they added that, but maybe there's some specific aspect of New York law that I don't get.
But yeah, guys, the mayor in this film is the head of Homeland Security.
Yeah,
Sorry, not Homeland Security. It's health inspection.
Yeah, whoever the guy. Everyone knows the guy.
Get me pictures of the Ghostbusters. He's literally their JJ.
But yeah, it's like,
he's the mayor. Oh shit.
Like, I don't get why he's the mayor. I don't know why he would have ran for mayor in this city.
That way he could get rid of the Ghostbusters.
But it doesn't work.
It did not work.
It never works. They won't go away.
He does his character so well. Yeah. You just hate him.
Yeah, you absolutely you absolutely understand what character he's doing because it's the same character he's been doing in every one of these movies he's ever appeared in. It's, I hate the Ghostbusters, and I'm the mayor, or I'm the inspector, or I'm whatever. It's always this guy, always complaining. So.
Yeah, so, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the game and its significance to the plot. So you might hate me for this, but sadly, even though we could consider it canon, it's not. Here's why.
Well, here's the thing.
They captured the Gray Lady in the game.
Sure.
And she is not captured in Frozen Empire.
Here's the thing. The game is, strictly speaking, never been canon.
Isn't it the fans consider it canon? No?
No.
Who does?
The actors, like Aykroyd and Bill Murray, they have said on record they consider the plot of that game to be that plot was what the third movie's plot was supposed to be. So they personally say this is the third movie because that's what we were going to make the third movie, and then we never made a movie. We made a game about it instead. So they consider it the third movie. And frankly, I'm willing to rely on their opinions on this, even if it contrasts with the Grey Lady being released in this movie. I'm willing to give them...
She wasn't released.
Well, no.
I don't think she was ever captured.
Yes, but I'm just saying, like, even though she's not been captured in this movie, in the game you do capture her, I'm willing to give credence to the actual Ghostbusters when they say, no, this is the third movie, fuck you. So, frankly, it's the third movie. So,
like, I do like the game.
Yeah.
I love the game, but I don't know if I should consider it canon because
I think it's... I would say, here's the thing. It's worth playing because it's
still good.
Within the narrative world of Ghostbusters, they are supposed to have a branch that opens in Chicago. And it's supposed to be ran by the main character of that game. So, like, that's part of their story is they branch out into other places. So, I can count it, even if technically it's not. It doesn't matter. You should play it and consider it canon anyways, because it's fun. And that's the whole point of this. It's supposed to be fun.
But, regardless, so the Grey Lady is in this movie. She's not captured. She makes an appearance just like Slimer.
Yeah, she has to, just like Slimer. Those two are basically the faces of this franchise, outside of the Stay Puft Man.
Yeah, Slimer and the Grey Lady was not in Afterlife, though.
Yeah.
Afterlife wasn't even in New York.
Yeah. Well, no, because that was the whole point, wasn't it? Because that everyone was scattered out, and because the place had been, like, everything had been shut down, basically. Like, it was all dead.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah, it's like, I haven't watched it, but I know enough of the trailers of, like, these kids were in Oklahoma. Like, they literally were not in New York.
Nope.
So.
And, no, you're right, they were in Oklahoma. Yeah. They said so throughout the movie.
Oh, they said so in this movie many times. I'm your high school teacher from Oklahoma.
But anyway, so, guys, I do like how they explain the lore in all of these movies. The lore is beautiful.
Oh, the worlds are, like, the world lore of, like, how the ghosts exist is always interesting.
Yeah, and I can get behind our main big bad being able to control other ghosts. That's sort of kind of happened
before. Basically, anytime you get a specter of... They try to keep introducing levels into this. There's some kind of level system that's never fully been explained, but, like, there's level 5 apparitions, level 7 apparitions. My understanding is that after a certain level, the spirits are basically so powerful that they can just command everyone under them to some degree. Or it's at least lesser spirits of, like, 3 and below. And since most of the time the Ghostbusters are capturing things at that level, it's like, they can command them.
Yeah, so the plot is fine. I like the plot. Mm-hmm. It introduced a cool character, and the funniest line in the whole movie came from Bill Murray. Tall, dark, and horny. 12 o'clock.
Yep, I mean, how would you not?
And the theater was a little reactive. Better than some other theaters we've
About
been
half
in.
of it was Younger Bro, but there were a couple other people who were...
I was dying.
Yeah,
like,
reacting.
The jokes were just as good as in Afterlife. Like, Afterlife and Frozen Empire have equally good jokes.
They've gotten some good writers who are capable of writing for these movies.
Yeah, pretty much all the characters return except for one.
Mm-hmm.
The one character that didn't return is, I'm assuming it would be the secretary's husband, because do you remember the guy who was trying to hit on Bill Murray's
Oh yeah. The little
geeky guy,
the very nerdy guy. Yeah,
he's still alive. He could come back, but I'm just considering him dead because we don't see him.
Yeah, he has been not removed from this franchise, but vaguely removed from this franchise.
I think he just doesn't want to touch anymore.
Because he suited up at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, that was the second film.
Yeah, it's like, so yeah, it was really good seeing everybody back again.
Yeah, all the old characters, including the secretary.
The secretary's back.
She suits up, which was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes! She gets like a freaking gauntlet.
Yeah, she basically has the arm shooter cannon.
She gets the Ghostbuster gauntlet. I'm like,
so
fuck
good.
yes!
So good.
She was one of my favorite characters in the original films. Like,
Yep.
so good.
Really good.
So, yeah, all of the story, all the characters are fine. There's just one issue, actually 2 issues I had. So the 2 issues I had, I do not like exactly how our big bad escapes from his confinement.
Yeah, here's the thing. So the big evil guy basically can't control people. He can only control ghosts. And he also controls a ghost that can control inanimate objects, including pizza, which I don't think is quite an inanimate object, but I don't write the rules of Ghostbusters. I guess food.
I loved that ghost.
I guess dead food counts as an inanimate object.
If you're a good boy, I'll give you a tennis ball.
I was disappointed because that guy was standing there, was looking for, like, they knew that ghost was around, and I desperately wanted him to say, "You've been a bad boy. No tennis ball for you," or something like that.
I
was
that.
disappointed.
Yeah, they added that new character, and I love him. He's a good character.
Yeah, he's
too.
basically the, like, because they introduced the, I don't know how much was in Aftermath or Afterlife.
No, he's a completely new character.
Well, no. I'm saying I don't know how much of that company, because Ghostbusters is basically a company now.
It wasn't.
Yeah, they now have an R&D division that's somewhere else that just makes all the stuff for them now, including better containment. So finally, the goddamn firehouse unsafe containment can finally be retired, and the goddamn health and safety guy can shut up.
Yeah, seriously.
I can't believe he didn't come downstairs and say, "Why are you still using that? I condemned it 40 years ago."
It's so fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I still really liked because Nostalgia Critic did a rewrite of the second movie, and one of the things they had him do was they did the court scene and testifying, but then in the end, they had him, like, one of the ghosts show up, and he's there saying, like, got a call from my grandmother. My grandmother's been dead for 40 years. And, like, I was like, they wrote it so perfectly where he is given undeniable evidence from his own family that it is literally true, and he cannot deny it. And he's just like, fucking fine, why not? And it's just like, what the hell do I say about this? And so I am sad that he is still so anti-Ghostbusters, despite everything.
I know.
Like, what the hell do you say?
Guts.
Like, oh, it's slander that portal opened up because I shut you down. And it's like, well, it happened.
But that's what happened.
Yeah, it happened, so what the fuck are you gonna say about it? Like, I don't know. But so it disappoints me that he's still so anti-Ghostbuster. But yeah, so the villain can control ghosts and inanimate objects, basically, but can't control people.
Mm-hmm.
So they go through this entire subplot, which I don't even think is really fleshed out that well.
No,
like it's not bad, but it's just like,
I think it is the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah, they go through an entire subplot of having to have the main character become a ghost temporarily, and for some reason the villain can control the ghost, and for some reason controlling her ghost controls her body. And it's like, now I don't understand why that would work, because she's outside her body. Why would that control her mouth? But
makes no...
It's... I don't even understand.
I got that she basically took her soul out of her body. That made sense. What didn't make sense was how, he escaped. I just...
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't understand why they came up with these... I'm assuming these are a real thing. But they came up with these wax cylinders that literally have audio that can play on them. They're not like a recording in our normal sense, but it's like...
Yeah, I thought the wax cylinder was what gonna release
I don't know if
them.
that's a real thing or not. It might be a real actual thing that's historically existed.
Wait, is the wax cylinder a real thing?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if those are real.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a wax cylinder of people chanting pre-Sumerian, release instructions,
Yeah, and
which I have no idea how they got.
And the poltergeist that can control objects
Yeah.
took it.
Yeah, so it's like
So I
they
thought that's
literally
what they were
had
gonna use.
a way to do this that would not have involved them. He could have gotten away, just like he destroyed the statue, but still got away with the thing.
He still got away with the thing.
Well, no, because they show it on screen. It's broken. Like,
oh yeah,
literally it was shattered. But it's like they could have just not done that.
Yeah, they could have.
They could have just had him get away with it.
Yeah,
still had
in
the
the
rest
stone
of the
lion's
plot.
mouth.
Yeah, had her still turn into a ghost as a way to try to get her away from, like, being able to save people or something. They could have still done the same plot, just not had that be the way that he had to be released.
Yeah, I thought that's where they were going to go.
It's quite strange
with that
why
cylinder.
they did that.
I thought they were going to use that cylinder to break him out of his imprisonment.
Yeah, or they find one guy who can actually speak that language, because I don't remember what the actor's name is. The guy who was actually who was from the library. I can't remember his name, but he said there's 5 people in the world who can
the curator of the library
speak this. I don't think he's the curator. I mean, he might be the curator now, but whatever his name is,
he might as well be.
But yeah, he's like, oh, there's only 5 people in the world who can actually speak this, like who can even translate this language. And I really wanted them to have like him end up being possessed or something. Also, that's an important question. Why couldn't they just possess him? Because ghost possession's a thing. Surely they could just have a ghost possess the guy and then... Because that's the weird thing about this movie, is that she separates herself from her own spirit. Which implies that even while you're alive, you have a spirit. So I don't understand why the villain couldn't control your spirit that's literally living inside you. But that's beside the point as well. But why couldn't they just have a ghost possess somebody and have the ghost recite the incantation?
Could have worked too.
I don't know. I feel like there's many ways they could have done this without having to have the girl's mouth move while the spirit's mouth is moving, which is kind of strange. I don't hate that, but it was weird. And I don't get why they did that.
But yeah, so the incantation for the release of Mr. Horny
was strange.
Did not make sense, and honestly, I kind of hated it.
Yeah.
And that's the second part of the thing I hated. Basically, the reason it led up to his unimprisonment, his release, was because our main character in Afterlife, she had a bit of a charm to her. She tried to be funny, even though when she was trying to be funny, she used mathematical equations to be funny and stuff like that.
She's a comic nerd.
Basically, when I looked at her, I'm like, you remind me almost of Ruby Gilman trying to make jokes.
Sure.
And that's why
Very
I
awkward,
freaking
funny.
loved her character.
Yeah.
In this movie, we have that at the start, guys. At the very start of the movie, they have her character nailed down, and I was excited to see her again.
Yeah.
And then they ruined her.
Yeah.
I get, like, teenage rebellion and stuff like that, and that's what happened in Afterlife, but they did it better in Afterlife.
See, I'm fine. Honestly, I was fine with this story because the entire story is that she's basically been fired due to child labor laws. Now, again, I don't understand why they keep focusing on these child labor laws because the entire thing is dangerous at any age. So I don't get why they're complaining about the child labor side of this problem. But whatever. But that's the whole plot. Is the mayor says, "Oh yeah, she can't work there, or else it'll your business will be shut down," which he does anyways.
I get that, but what I was hoping they were gonna do with her, it was gonna let her tinker around.
Yeah, that's honestly what I was expecting them to say. It was like, well, because you can't be a Ghostbuster in the field, you can be in the background assisting in the development.
And that's almost what Spangler originally was, and I thought that's what they were going to do with her character. Then they didn't do that, and they went off to this side plot with a girl with...
Yeah, I don't understand, because they took... She wasn't at the research station, was she? Did she ever go to the research facility?
The blue fire girl?
No. Main girl. The young Spangler, did she ever go to the facility where they actually make the research equipment now? I can't remember. Was she in those scenes? Because I don't think she was there. She shows up later there during the release, but, like, did she show up there earlier?
No.
So, like...
She wasn't there the first time. She was there the second time.
Yeah, because what
then the third time.
Because, like, what I don't get is, why didn't they just say, well, you can't work as a Ghostbuster in the field because you're underage, but you could totally work here, and you clearly like tinkering with all this stuff, so this seems like a role you'd also like to be in, so you're not depressed and not being able to do anything.
And the release could have made more sense that way. Yeah. I guess, but it wouldn't have made it better to me, honestly.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, I'll agree that her character wasn't handled very well in this. I don't think it was handled, like, the worst, but it's definitely... I feel like they could have rewritten part of this and come up with a better, like, way that the ghost got released.
It was an interesting concept, I'll give it that, because main character gets pretty much a best friend relationship vibe with a ghost girl.
Yeah, and I think that was cool. I think that part makes perfect sense.
That was fine. What I didn't like was... It was... I don't want to say it's a plot that's been done before, but it felt... I don't know if it felt rushed. It just... You didn't capture... She didn't feel like the same character that I liked from Afterlife.
Yeah. I think part of that was going to be inevitable because they had to bench her. She was going to feel like a different character because she's kind of depressed right now. She's not in a good mental state, and she recognizes that. And then she finds this ghost who's like,
at least she admits that what she did was stupid. And I'm like, yes, this is the stupidest part of the film. Thank you.
Yes. And I think that's fair. It's just saying, yeah, I completely fucked up. Like this, I screwed this up, so I'm gonna fix it. And yeah,
and then we did finally get to see her tinker around a bit with the ending. I'm like, why couldn't that have been the subplot? Whatever.
Yeah. No, and I think it made sense. Like. That was the thing that I found cool about it, because they go into this movie goes a lot more into the supernatural than a lot of the Ghostbusters movies does, where not just that they have ghosts, but they're actually trying to, like, analyze the ghosts a little bit.
Analyze them, there's supernatural human beings, or at least beings that can tap into the supernatural, kind of like, I don't want to say, like, people who can read your fortune or anything like that.
No,
but, like, mystical.
Yeah, no,
arts.
they have people. They introduced that there used to be people who collect, like, who had to trap ghosts
like
in ancient pre-Sumerian times.
Yeah, which was awesome. Like, yes.
But they also came, like, this movie came into the understanding of, like, oh, some of these ghosts aren't made up of the same stuff as other ghosts. So, like, our devices don't work on all ghosts. So we have to create different devices that use different metals to attack other ghosts. It's like, and that's cool. I want to see more of that.
I would love to have seen more of that.
It's one of those things where I think that the subplot, I'm going to call it the subplot because it felt like a subplot because it really is. She's the main character, but it's a subplot.
And they washed her over so bad.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like the subplot was done poorly. And it could have been written better. But I honestly liked pretty much every other part of this movie. All the other stuff this movie was doing was super cool. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with the beginning. And I'm fine with how you get there at the end. I'm fine with the ending stuff and how you're doing it. Like, it's just that middle bit where it's like, you could have done this a little bit better.
Yeah, it disappoints me a little bit that that's how you got introduced to that character.
Yeah.
It really does.
But it's like, but I really liked all the other stuff this movie did. It's done very well.
Yeah, they did her character justice at the beginning of the film, and then they fucked it.
Yeah.
So the actor who does that character, I love you. I love what you've done in Afterlife, and honestly, I wish you had more say of what you guys did in Frozen Empire.
But yeah. So, anything else you really want to talk about in the spoiler section?
I'll go ahead and let you guys know Slimer obviously doesn't get captured. What's interesting is I thought they were going to actually eventually make Slimer the actual, like, mascot and the one who doesn't ever get captured again, and he is the only ghost that would work with the Ghostbusters, because he kind of did in the second film.
Yeah.
It was a joke where he was driving a bus and he drove that one geeky Ghostbuster to where he needed to be. I'm like, yes, I want to see more of that, and then they don't.
Because I think, that would be an interesting take on some of the Ghostbusters. Like, for example, the ghost in the library, who is never captured because she's not a danger to anybody. She just tells people to shut the fuck up in a library. What you'd expect a librarian to do. Like, that's her whole life's desire was to be a librarian, and her whole undead desire is to continue being a librarian. And it's just like, what the fuck ever. She cleans the shelves. She, like, tells people to shut up. She's a perfect employee, and we don't have to pay her. Like, literally no negatives to her continuing to exist.
But as soon as she saw one of the Ghostbusters, she's like, no, you're out.
Yeah, because obviously they keep destroying the library.
So she's pissed off at
Yeah. She has a quite reasonable anger at the Ghostbusters who keep destroying her fucking library. Honestly, she might be the founder of that library. It might literally be the ghost of the person who built that damn library.
No, she was just the librarian there. As far as I know.
But regardless, she's not captured in this. Neither is Slimer.
Because she's not the real threat.
No, and that's the thing. They are. Slimer's big thing is that he's a fucking rat. Literally a rat. He goes down, eats food in the kitchen, steals it, goes upstairs, and burrows in his pile of trash. He is a literal, actual rat.
He is a raccoon.
Yeah, he's a raccoon, and there is no... The negative to him is that he is there, eating their food. But otherwise, there is no negatives to him continuing to exist. He poses no threat.
Yeah, the other thing, guys, is nobody dies.
Nope.
None of the main cast die.
Yeah. Now, I have to imagine at least some passerbys died on the fucking beach and shit.
I cannot believe Lucky didn't die, and I cannot believe Spangler didn't die.
Yep.
I thought they were both dead.
Nope.
Like, because in the trailer, with Lucky, I think they were going to kill her off, and then they didn't.
Yep.
But
it's possible. It's possible that they got enough, like, people being like, oh no, you better not kill off this character. They said, we don't really need to kill her.
But
I mean, look, they killed the main character. I mean, they literally killed her for about 2 minutes. So, like,
I guess.
How much more death do you need? But no, in all seriousness, yeah, I feel like having somebody die could have raised the stakes.
Yeah. And the main villain,
honestly, that could have been a good way to do it. If they wanted to have her benched, they could have had somebody die and the mayor say, look, I don't care if she's the most capable person. Like, somebody has died. We cannot endanger children. She must be benched.
That would have made more sense.
And that would have... And he could still hate them, but it's like, it doesn't matter if I think... I'm holding you personally responsible for all this shit. You're paying for all this, but you have to bench her because people's lives are in danger, and you cannot endanger children on this job. And then she might not even be pissed off at her parents. She's just pissed off generally because she's a teenager and upset with the situation.
But yeah, the main villain in this movie is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, great.
Like, I'm wondering if people got inspired by the Wendigo, and I think that's what
somewhat
he is.
Yeah.
Because Wendigos are described as tall, pale beings who have the capability to take control of the minds and make you think differently.
Yeah, and freeze everything to death.
Like, the worst case scenario I've ever heard was somebody literally was sleeping on a bus, got up, and then started to kill someone with their bare hands, and when they did, they started eating them.
Yeah. So, and then also, the freezing aspect, which is also a big thing with this character. So, yeah.
I don't know if Wendigos are really associated with
Yeah,
cold. It depends.
I was going to say, the MLP Wendigos are, and they're
But
arguably not Wendigos, but like...
Those are different kinds of
Exactly.
Wendigos.
They've kind of combined both of them. You've got the ice Wendigos, and then those...
And the
the
North
classical...
American
Yeah, the classical
one.
Wendigos. And it's like, whatever. It all fits.
So, honestly, I liked seeing that in the movie.
Yeah, he was great.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the only bad things about the movie was Spangler with the ghost girl that kind of almost ruined her
the
character.
Subplot, in quotes, which was the main plot.
The release of the big bad didn't make sense.
Yeah, but all that was kind of tied together. So it's like, yeah.
Otherwise, it was a good movie. Not as good as Afterlife, but it is still worth a watch. I'd say so.
Yeah. I still have to watch Afterlife. I might do so later. Who knows? But, yeah. I would still recommend this movie. Even with its faults. It's still a good movie. It's absolutely worth your time. So, okay. With that, guys, we will go to our new segment of analyzing the Rotten Tomatoes scores and seeing what this movie is rated at. So, Frozen Empire. Yep, Frozen Empire. So, audience score. So, once again, we have one of these critical consensus versus audience consensus being vastly different. Critical consensus, 43%. Audience score, 85%.
To be fair, this came out yesterday.
That is true. So, the score is probably going to adjust over time. So, these scores can change. But as of the time we're seeing it, and as the time we're looking at the scores, 43% from critics, 85% from Ghostbusters. I'm going to say, I don't think I agree with either of these. I think that the critics are very wrong. I don't think this is a 43% movie.
No.
But I would say this is maybe a 70%
That's
movie.
what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, this is, I think the audience is a little bit higher up than it should be, but the critics are way lower on this. This is a decently good movie. It is worth your time. It looks like the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie had 64% from critics and 94% from audience. So, if those are accurate numbers from the audience, I'd say this is a bit of a step down. But is this a bad movie? No, not a bit. It is a good movie. It has some faults. It's worth your time, and I think it's worth having more sequels. But I think that they should take this subplot and not do something like this in the next movie.
Yeah, please.
Play around with the main plot stuff. Play around with more of the cool tech of, oh, you have to use bronze for your equipment to fight these ghosts because it won't work on these other ghosts because they're a special type of ghost.
That was awesome.
That was cool. Hell, do what the game did and actually go to the spirit world for a while.
That kind of did happen. Yeah.
So, I would love to see more from this franchise. I'm fine if they don't keep the old actors in it, honestly. As much as I love seeing...
They were definitely more involved in this movie.
Yeah, I'm fine seeing them. If they wanted to get rid of them going forward, I'd be fine with that. I get why they bring them around because they're the Ghostbusters, but yeah, if they wanted to just move to the new cast, I'm fine with that. But still, they should have more movies. Yeah, I think that's all I've really got to say about this.
Yep.
So, that's going to be it for this hot take. We will come back next time with a new hot take on another movie, and I believe there is one next week, but I'm not certain. So, we'll find out next week alongside you guys. Until then, see you all on the next hot take.
Goodbye.